Quick question. What makes someone a good financial advisor? Is it the credentials, the CFP, the alphabet soup after your name, the tech stack, the custody platform? Maybe it's the AUM or the client count, the brand names on your wall. I've got all of that, and I've seen advisors with more, and none of that is the reason a single client actually trusts me. The real reason is something you can't put on a business card, so let me show you what it is and how you build it from zero. I've been doing this for nearly 3 decades, and I've got the designations and the war stories to go with it. And the longer I do it, the more sure I am the stuff that we as financial professionals brag about is not the stuff that actually matters. Here's what almost every advisor believes, usually without ever saying it out loud. They think if they just get the designation, the CFP, the next set of letters, then clients and prospects will have to take them seriously. The credential will speak for them. It'll set them apart. And I understand why we believe that. Organizations like the CFP board market it that way. The whole pitch is that
you thrive when hard work leads to something bigger and your time is valued. So become a financial hero. A financial planning career can reward your ambition with a great salary and flexible work schedule. Learn more about what it takes to become a financial planner. Quite possibly, the perfect job.
Those 3 letters are the mark of trust, the thing that separates the professional from the salesperson. So advisors go get it, hang it on the wall, and wait for the recognition to follow. Now, let me be fair to the data, because I looked it up. Credentials do matter at the front door. The research shows most people, around 6 in 10, say a professional credential is part of how they decide whether to trust an advisor in the first place. So I'm not gonna stand here and tell you the CFP is worthless. It's not. It gets you notice. It gets you in the room. But here's what the same research says, and this is the part the CFP board doesn't put on the billboard. When you ask people what actually decides who they hire and who they stay with, credentials drop down the list. Fee transparency beats it. Feeling understood beats it. The relationship beats it. The letters are the starting line, my friend, not the finish line. So when an advisor pours everything into collecting more letters and assumes that's the strategy, they've mistaken the door for the house. The credential opens the door. It does not win the relationship. And I learned this the hard way. Early on, I thought my job was to be the smartest, most credentialed person in the meeting, to prove I'd earned my seat. And I watched prospects nod, look impressed, and never call back. I was selling my resume. Nobody wants to buy a resume. What I missed is that a client isn't hiring your letters, they're hiring whether they feel understood and whether they believe you actually see them. And that you can't certify. So you're probably saying, Dominique, if it's not the credentials, what is it? Well, after all this time in the industry, I'll say it plainly. We are not selling products. We are not even selling financial plans. What we're selling is trust. We are getting another human being to believe in our advice enough to actually act on it, to change what they do with their money, their family, their future, because they believe in you. That's the whole job. Everything else is mechanics. And trust is not a credential you earn once and display. Trust is a balance. It goes up and it goes down. And you start every single relationship at 0. Think about it like a bank account, a relational bank account. The day you meet someone, the balance is 0. You haven't earned anything yet. Every interaction is an entry into a ledger only the client keeps, either a deposit in or a withdrawal out. And you cannot spend what you haven't deposited. That reframe changes everything about how you build a practice, because now the question isn't how do I look impressive? The question is, how do I make deposits? Hey friend, let me pause and ask you something. And I mean this. If you're still with me this far in, you're not a casual viewer. You're an advisor who actually wants to build something that lasts. So here's my one ask. Can you please check if you're subscribed? That's it. That's all. If this is landing, that's the one free thing you can do that tells me to keep making these videos. And my promise back to you is I'll keep giving you all the real stuff. No hype, no holding back, giving you all the good material and not trying to sell you a paid course every week. Is that okay? Back to it, because the next part is how you actually fill the bank account that I just talked about. Let's get to it. So how do you make the deposits a client actually values? It's not random acts of niceness, gifts, not per se. It's a sequence, and it starts with you, not them. Step 1, you have to know yourself. Specifically, know your archetype, your zone of genius, the thing you do better than almost anyone, the work that actually energizes you instead of drains you. Most advisors have no idea what theirs is. They're trying to be a generalist who's good at everything, which means they're unforgettable at nothing. When you know your genius, you stop performing and start showing up as the one thing you actually are. That's the first deposit, because people trust someone who is clearly, specifically themselves. Step 2, find your people. Not everyone, a special group of people with a specific set of problems. The riches are in the niches, because trust is easier to build when the person across from you thinks, this advisor gets people like me. You cannot deeply understand everyone. You can deeply understand a specific somebody. So pick them. Step 3, make them an offer that's aligned with your genius. This is where most advisors break the chain. They build an offer around what's profitable or what everyone else sells, instead of what they can uniquely build and deliver. When your offer comes straight out of your zone of genius, 2 things happen. You deliver it better than anyone, and you can actually sustain delivering it. Misaligned offers are how advisors burn out and quietly break promises. Aligned offers are how you keep them. And step 4, now you make deposits. Every time you do what you said you do, every time you fulfill the promise, you put money in the relational account. And here's the part nobody tells you. Even a referral doesn't skip this. When someone refers you, you're not starting with trust. You're borrowing someone else's trust. The referrer is lending you their balance. You still have to earn your own. Deposit by deposit, by keeping every promise that you make. Borrowed trust buys you the first meeting, but kept trust buys you the relationship. Hey, quick aside, step 1, knowing your archetype, is the one most advisors skip because they've never heard of a way to find it. So I built a free assessment that tells you which of the 6 advisor archetypes you are and where your zone of genius actually is. It's free, link is in the description. Start there, because you can't make deposits in your genius until you know what your genius is. Then come back, because I want to show you why this compounds. Okay, here's why this matters more than any credential you could ever earn. A credential is static. You get it once and it sits there. It does not grow. The relationship bank account actually grows and compounds. Every kept promise doesn't just add one deposit, it raises the trust ceiling for everything that comes next. The client who's seen you keep 10 promises will follow your advice on the 11th thing without hesitation. The hard advice, the advice that actually changes their life. That's compounding trust. That's the interest. And it works in the other direction too, which is the warning. A broken promise isn't a small withdrawal. It's expensive. You can wipe out 10 deposits with one withdrawal, one missed deadline, one overpromise you couldn't keep, one time the client felt unseen, which is exactly why steps 1 through 3 matter so much. When you operate in your genius, serving people you understand with an offer you can actually deliver, you make far fewer withdrawals. You're not writing checks you can't cash. The advisor with the fancy credentials and the misaligned practice is making withdrawals every week and wondering why the account's always empty. The advisor who knows themselves and keeps their promises is compounding quietly for years. So let's bring this home. You can spend your whole career collecting credentials and never understand why clients don't fully trust you, or you can accept the thing nobody in this industry says out loud. The letters after your name get you in the room, but they have never once by themselves earned a relationship. What earns the relationship is knowing who you are, choosing who you serve, making them a promise you're built to keep, and then keeping it over and over, deposit after deposit. That's what makes you a good advisor, not the wall of certificates. The balance in an account nobody can see, but everybody can feel. So here's my question to you, and I want you to sit with this. If a client could see the real balance, the real trust you've actually earned, not the credentials you've collected, what would yours say? If you're not sure you like the answer that you'd hear, start at step 1. Find out what your genius actually is. The archetype assessment is in the description. It's free, like I said, and it's where this whole thing begins. I'm Dom Henderson, and go build something you're proud of.